What's going on, Patreon? Metal Complex here, and welcome to whatever episode of Patreon exclusive this is. I'm not really sure. If you are new to Patreon, thank you so much for joining and supporting me. If you are not new and you're just continuing to support me, thank you too. I'm really glad that you guys are here. That's why I do these Patreon exclusive videos, because I like to say thank you, and I want to let you guys know what's going on behind the scenes of the channel, or behind the the main stage of the channel that everybody can see on YouTube. I want to give you guys some inside information. You guys are seeing this on Friday. You'll notice that this is basically the exact same backdrop that you'll see on Sunday for the Knife Guy, and that's because I recorded these videos back to back, but I just, it just worked out that way. Yeah, so we have a ton of budget knife reviews coming. Like the next 2 to 3 weeks. Now, let me think about this. It's like there's going to be some other stuff peppered in, because I've got some other stuff being sent from the Pass Around group. Scott Whittington from USMA Blade is sending me. He donated and I think he's doing this with a few channels. Donated a new USMA Blade exclusive M390 all black Kershaw Knockout, which is awesome. Kind of want to keep that for myself, but I'm sure I'll end up doing a giveaway because I'll feel guilty. He's donating that, and then there's some other things, and then Jeff is in here in Patreon. He's kind of figuring out what he wants to send me next. So there's going to be other stuff peppered in, but these next at least 3 weeks are going to be very budget knife oriented. I've got a couple of fixed blades to do. I still have Kyle Roberts Dark Timber fixed blade to do, and I've got some of Chris Gonzalez's knives that he donated to the channel that are not really budget knives, or more like there's some Cold Steel production knives and some other knives that he kind of peppered in there. But there's going to be a ton of budget knives, and I'm really excited because that's one thing that I really had always intended to do with this channel, but just never did. I love budget knives. There's something about finding a really good budget knife that I can just beat the crap out of, and I don't have to feel bad about it, right? Because it didn't cost very much. That's the whole reason I'm doing the Quest for the Perfect Budget Knife series. So I'm really happy to be able to bring that stuff. So I'm excited about that. I know I keep saying this over and over again, but according to Slicey Dicey, who I believe is also a patron and can see this, the podcast is going to happen. I don't know exactly when. He's hinting at wanting to start the first episode maybe next week. Everything is still on. We still have some big figures in the knife community planned as guests. That's all the details that I know, honestly. That's everything that I know. There's nothing else to share there. So hopefully we start that in the next week or so. What else? There was another big thing. Oh, yeah. So I've been talking for a long time about merchandise and like how I want to do that. Now, I have enough to the whole thing with this channel is that I do things in a way that allows me to put out continuous content. My minimum week, you guys, is 5 videos Monday through Friday, and then some type of unique video or like scheduled series on Saturday, and then Knife Guy on Sundays. I feel Knife Guy, I think, will always be a permanent part of this channel unless I simply run out of topics. I'm always going to try. I might have to evolve it into something else, but Knife Guy will always, as long as I'm doing this, I'm going to try to always make it a part of my channel. So that's a minimum of 7 videos for YouTube and 1 for Patreon. Now, it's been a long time since I've only put out 7 on YouTube and 1 on Patreon. Most of the time, it's like 10 videos a week. That's fine with me. I love making content. I can do that. I've made room in my regular everyday life to do it. I don't write scripts. I don't do any editing unless I put subtitles in for clarification. I've made time for that. It's easy. I can do I can do it. I can manage that. What I don't want to do is add any unnecessary complexity to all of this, because it'll make the process of the channel tiresome, and it'll take the fun out of it. So I don't want to change things and add, any laborious process to it, any unnecessary laborious process to it, because then it won't be as fun for you guys. It'll show in the videos and blah, 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 blah. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So I was talking about merch. I want to add that in, But, on top of making content, I also have, receiving stuff and communicating with the Pass-Run group, communicating with the viewers who are talking with me about, getting knives, making sure that I keep track of whose knife is whose, making sure that the funds coming in are prepared to pay for. I use TubeBuddy, by the way. That's something I absolutely have to use for this channel, so I pay for that. Patreon funds and funds from the channel help with that, shipping costs, little things like that. All the funds have to be prepared, and then I also have to make sure I've got like stickers ordered and things like that, and I can manage all that. It's really not that bad. The channel takes about 10, between 8 and 10 hours of my time a week maximum, and I can manage that. So I'm like, how do I put merch in here? Because what do I want to do here? Order 100 shirts and 100 hats, and then manage all of the shipping and all of the orders? Oh, how do people do that? Well, I didn't realize that there are sites that take care of that for you. My buddy Endure88 on Instagram, the guy who did the channel art, the knight and the sword, he and I have been talking about design concepts for hats and t-shirts. And I was like, I don't know how we're gonna do this, how we're gonna operate like an online store. I don't have the time to do that. I have a full-time job, I've got a family, I've got kids. I try to like eat healthy, and I've got a workout schedule, and I can do it all right now, but I can't really add on a whole lot. I like being busy. I've got a lot of energy. I enjoy it. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to operate an online store. Well, it turns out there are actually a lot of sites that allow you to basically just kick them the design, and then it's up to you to drive the traffic in to sell the t-shirts, or it'd be up to me. I'm saying up to you, not like you guys. It's up to me, right? So the site provides the shirts. You provide the design, they put the design on the shirts, and then you direct your traffic to their website to buy it, and then I would get a cut of it, and you guys would get the merchandise, and then they would get a profit for providing the service. They would provide the platform. That means they would provide all the ordering stuff and the shipping and all that. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's perfect. Because, I'm not every single one of you wants a hat or a t-shirt, but I'm sure some of you guys would enjoy stuff like that. And I would. And I want merch. I want to be able to buy stuff like that. And be able to provide it to certain, to people who join certain tiers. Because right now my tiers are, if you join any tier, you have access to anything that I make a Patreon exclusive, and then $3 and up gets a sticker. That's great that you guys want to support me in that way, but I am constantly like, I need to give back to these people who are supporting me, which is why I do the Patreon exclusive giveaways. I want to do that, but I also need to, at some point, fill in these tiers. So soon, I don't know when, but Endure and I are working on a simpler form of what we're using as the kind of the theme of the channel. The theme is Metal Army. We have the Metal Knight, we have Excalibur illustrated, the knight is holding it like this. So I want the merchandise, I want hats and t-shirts, starting off with t-shirts, to have a much simpler illustration of the knight helmet, or the sword, The helmet I just think looks cool. Endure's original concept of the helmet, without all the detail, would be a perfect emblem to put on a t-shirt or hat. And I'm talking like monochromatic, right? Just different hues of gray, white, and black, and just like sort of a reflect, like a reverse image. One side is like white with black shading, and the other side is black with white shading, or something like that. He has a way more artistic, ability to. I mean, his mind works in a much more artistic way than mine. So I give him a general idea, and then he comes up with the idea, or the final the concept. Something like that. And then the sword, I just think is perfect. The sword represents Excalibur, and Excalibur to me, and how I've kind of kicked it out to my viewers, is whatever bladed objects makes you feel absolutely complete, all-encompassing, everything that you consider ideal in terms of utility and aesthetics, and where the knife is made and its deployment mechanism, and blah blah blah. We all have our own Excaliburs, right? So the Excalibur symbol, the sword, is technically applicable to anybody, not people that just that watch my channel. not just people who watch my channel, but everybody in this knife community. We either have a collective idea of multiple knives that make up the ideal collection of knives for EDC or any conceivable task you would ask of a folding knife, or for some of us, it's just one knife, right? But that's kind of the idea that I've been pushing, is that that's what Excalibur represents. And you guys have used the term Excalibur enough in the comments section that I'm like, hey, people are kind of, you guys are getting this. We kind of have made Excalibur a thing. So I want Excalibur on t-shirts, and I want Enduro 88's design of Excalibur on t-shirts. Why? Because it's the most quintessential looking broadsword. It's obviously a big two-handed sword with a straight crossguard, nothing crazy. You know, it's kind of like it's simple on purpose. I talked with Enduro about this. Make the design for Excalibur simple. That way people can look at it and they go, that's a sword, I understand what it represents. But there's not so much detail that it muddies up what they consider Excalibur to be for them. Obviously not a sword for most of you, it's a pocket knife, right? But that pocket knife has its own characteristics, its own traits, its own aesthetic detail, its own philosophy of function and utility, right? So the idea with Excalibur, the design of it, make it simple, make it symmetrical, but make it look cool. So I want that on t-shirts. If you look closely at the design of it, there's a green gem in it. For no other reason than I just like green, but we might do different colors of gems. You guys know that it's no surprise. I mean, like, you guys look at my thumbnails. I use bright red, bright orange, bright green, bright blue, bright purple. You know, primary colors, and then whatever orange and purple and teal are. I use those a lot. Partially because it grabs attention, and it also pops with YouTube's black theme or their night theme. I'm sure a lot of you guys use that. If you haven't set up night theme on your phone, on your YouTube application, or wherever you use YouTube, set it up. It looks awesome. But it pops really well with that. I like all those bright colors, and it kind of it's kind of the characteristic that I've used for this channel. And I said, let's put that in the cape on the knight, and let's put it in the sword. And then we can change the colors out and offer different colors, you know, eventually, for people who might want a different design. That's just the idea right now. That's where we're going with the designs for the t-shirts and stuff. But I will show you guys the moment we have our first concept of what the artwork will look like on the t-shirts and eventually hats. I will show it to you guys first, absolutely. But I like the idea of that. The sword also has, you know, I'm sure you guys are wondering, well, what... You know, how do people know it's your logo? The sword actually does have MC right above the crossguard, right around where the gemstone is. So if you go to my channel, look at the channel art, and you blow that knight up, or you look at it right at the header on Patreon here, it actually does say MC on the blade, very faint. Now, you know, the idea would actually be 3 different options for t-shirts or hats. There would be the knight's helmet, or Excalibur by itself, or the traditional MC logo, the MC logo that I've got right here, which is the M in black outlined in blue, the sword, which is the same Excalibur sword design that I would use standalone by itself, or I would actually use a simpler version of it, but we'd use the traditional design for Excalibur in the logo right there, and then the C. So it'd be the exact same logo you see, and then those would be offered on t-shirts, you know, all gray with the logo in the middle, or on the back, right in the middle of the shirt, or whatever. You know, that's what I want to do. I don't want anything ultra complicated. I want it simple. Everybody kind of, you guys who have been around since the beginning of the channel, you guys know I've changed the logo a couple of times. The very first logo was a green M, just green. The background of the logo was CNC steel, and then it was a green M, just M in green, and then there was a very simple illustrated sword that I just ripped off of Google and put right through the middle. Well, that was fine for a little bit, and then I realized, oh my gosh, it's basically the exact same thing that Tony Marfione uses for his signature series and his custom knives, so I couldn't do that. So I changed it to a blue and silver M and C with the sword down the middle, and that was great. My buddy was like, hey, do you want me to like make a real logo? You know, I can do that. And I was like, yes, please, that'd be awesome. So then we have this current version, which is the way that it's going to stay. If it ever changes, it'll probably be the exact same color scheme, in the future it may get updated a little bit. It'll stay about the same, but Endure is the person who's going to do that for me, and I don't have any plans to change it soon. But I like that logo. It's simple. It's to the point where it's recognizable, and I just don't want to change it. So I like that, and I hope you guys. Some of you would be excited to get some of that for yourself, for yourselves. If I can, I'll find a way to include it as options for tiers. It depends on my cost for it. I will try. I can't promise it. If I can't do that, because this is all just an idea right now. If I can't do that and make it cost effective, and at the same time make it easy for me to provide that, and not have it take up a whole bunch of time, then I'll find a different way to make it a part of the tiers. It may be that I simply, purchase it and just send it straight to the person who joined the tier for joining the tier. We're looking at Redbubble for providing this service for us. I don't know that that's who we're going to use, but if they make it where say somebody joins and I've got a specific perk for the $20 tier, you get a t-shirt and a hat. Hypothetically, I have no idea what all this stuff is going to cost. Then I would say, hey, which design do you want? I'll just go ahead and put the order in and send it straight to you. If it's cost effective for me to do that, then that's what I would do. But I have to work. We've got to do all the math, and we got to design everything, get it all set up. But rest assured, merch is coming. I want it to be a thing, and I don't want to just constantly have the same designs all the time. Endure and I talked about doing a certain design for X amount of time, and doing a limited run of shirts and then stopping those and doing the same design but in a different color scheme, or a different design altogether, and just doing constantly, kind of like how Spyderco does their sprint runs. That seems to, people like that. They get a hold of something during a limited amount of time. Maybe that'll make everybody mad. I have no idea. And maybe nobody will care and nobody will want to buy this stuff anyway, but I think it sounds cool. Who doesn't like battle helmets and swords, right? That sounds like fun. If you guys have any ideas, as usual, I will listen to my patrons first. You guys are the main supporters of this channel. You help turn the cogs. So your opinions matter to me. Not that everybody's opinion on the YouTube channel doesn't matter either, but you guys, like I said, you're the biggest supporters, so I'm going to listen to you first. If you have any comments or you have any suggestions or anything like that, you can leave a comment or you can email me at metalcomplex87@gmail.com. If you email me, make sure you let me know, just because now there are 65 of you, just let me know, hey, buddy, I'm a patron. That way I'm like, oh, that it highlights it for me, or you can put it in the title, like, hey, this is coming from a patron. Because I get a lot of emails, and sometimes they all get read, but they're getting harder and harder and harder to prioritize. So that helps me out. If you put it in the title, I'm a patron, I'm going to look at that one first. That's pretty much it for today's Patreon exclusive, guys. I know I didn't pick the knives up and play with them very much, but all of these got picked up and played with on the Knife Guy series coming on Sunday. The topic for Sunday is peer pressure in the knife community and how it affects all of us and makes us purchase things that we wouldn't otherwise even consider. I am currently a victim of Spyderco Kapara peer pressure right now. I've got it hard for that knife. That was a weird way to say that. No, scratch that. I really, really want a Spyderco Kapara. That's a safer way to say that. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for today's Patreon exclusive. Thank you so much for your continued support. Hope you're continuing to enjoy the content, and I hope you have a great Friday and weekend. We'll see ya.